Hello, fictional. Welcome to the Fiction Series X. Today we are gonna see what if Issei become a god dragon. Part 2. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. In the depths of hell. Issei and the two dragons are walking in a random direction, hoping that they find something eventually. Hey Bahamut, since we're in hell, how come all of the devils don't know where we are? It's because that this place is where the elder devils live, they are the ones in charge of this place after getting killed in the Great War, no one can sense us here, because it's basically heaven of devils, to put it simply, after the devils die they go here. And they can never go here if they don't die. I thought you said I wasn't dead. You are dead, you numbskull, but once you have your own peerage they can give your soul and body some energy, so you will be reborn again, and you will be the host of the god dragon in the flesh. Well, there goes my reputation. Now what's that supposed to mean, boy? Issei didn't answer, not wanting to worsen the situation. After what seems like hours of silence, a portal in the underworld shocked the three of them. The portal opened and opened until what looks like an eastern dragon came out. It was huge, white, and Issei probably know who that dragon is, it's Midgardsormr. Midgardsormr rose his head and walked towards Issei. When he was closer he changed to a human form. He looks like Kuroko in Kuroko no Basketball. He bent down one knee and exclaimed proudly, "Lord Bahamut-sama, I have rose from my eternal slumber and I'm here to serve you once again." Issei just stared at the dragon, as he recalled Loki once summoned Midgardsormr to kill Rhea's peerage. "Ah, Midgardsormr, how kind of you to answer my calling. After the great war of the three factions you've been nothing but a lazy disgrace to us dragons, you even tried to kill my host here." Midgardsormr suddenly looked up and rose his head. He was surprised indeed that the one who possessed the god dragon was the former Seker Hyoudou. "I am deeply sorry, my lord, I was tricked, and that stupid false god Loki got himself the best of me. I will accept any punishment you demand, just say the word." "This is getting interesting, partner, what would you let him do?" "Let him take a bath in the volcano of eternal suffering. Tie his pathetic snake body into a bowl and use him as a ball to any sport. 10,000 spankings. Let him watch 800 episodes of Dora the Explorer back to back. Or even better, all of them. Just say the word, partner." Issei just kept silent and thought about it. After the conclusion appeared on his head, he quickly said his answer. Midgardsormr rose back onto his feet and swayed his blue hair. "As much as I hate to say it, you are still a dragon of my kind. My partner created 11 of you together so you can be a family. Now I'm a part of your family, and now I ask you to be placed on my peerage and under my command. Do you accept my request, Midgardsormr?" Midgardsormr bowed his head and nodded. Issei smiled and thinked of what piece he should use for him. Since he's an Easter dragon, maybe he can be fast like Uria, but then again, as I recall our fight with Loki, Midgardsormr didn't even move at all. He was just using elemental powers. Issei stopped for a little while until there was once again an idea on his mind. Since he's serpentine and elemental type, maybe he could be a nice defense system. Issei finally came to his conclusions and decided. "Midgardsormr, I humbly make you my rook to protect my peerage in terms of battles. I make you a dragon with unbelievable defense strategy and tactics." After the piece was now inside Midgardsormr, he quickly stood up and went to offices in Uria's direction. Uria suddenly high-fived him and said, "Welcome back, brother. Huo Academy." Rhea's is now sitting at her desk, heads down in her classroom, clearly trying to get Issei off of her mind. Sona knew this and quickly stood up to comfort Rhea's. Rhea's suddenly sensed demon presence and looked up to see Sona with a weak smile. Sona grabbed a nearby chair to sit on, and Rhea's suddenly talked to her. "I don't know why he have to die, Sona. He sacrificed us so we can't be killed by that no good, false god Loki." Rhea said, have a deep frown in her face. Sona looked at Rhea's and became sad. It was really hard for all of the three factions when they heard about Issei's death, especially for the angels. Gabriel is still crying for crying out loud. There was a brief silence until Sona spoke softly once again. "My peerage also didn't know why, but all we know is that Issei thought it was for the best. Rhea's, all we could do now was to bear all the pain until time heals us completely," Sona said, holding back the tears. She really didn't want to bear any more pain. All she wants to see is Issei Hyoudou alive and well. "Thanks, Sona. Can we have a game of chess after class later?" Rhea's asked with a weak smile, her eyes still a little bit red. "Sure, Rhea's, but remember I won't lose to you." Rhea smirked when she heard Sona boast about herself. Maybe, just maybe, their hearts will be completely cured. "I'm Skip, student council office." "Checkmate," Rhea said as she moved her bishop, trapping the king with the rooks and the queen. "Wow, you've gotten better, Rhea's. I'm quite impressed," Sona said as the whole student council and occult research club cheered for them. Saji spoke to Kiba quietly so that the other can't really hear them. "It's really going quite well with the two clans after these days," Saji said as he showed a weak smile. "Issei Hyoudou is really a true hero, right, Asia?" Asia raised her head up with a sad face and then smiled weakly. Hi, no matter where Issei senpai is, I know he will always be there to watch us, like what the biblical god is doing, even if he's dead, he's still watching us. Saji turned to look back at the two leader of the factions. Maybe we can finally put Issei's death behind us and move on, Saji muttered and watched as the two teenagers fixed the chessboard for another round. Into the depths of hell. Midgardsormr showed a demo to Issei Hyoudou what his powers are. Issei noticed that he really was indeed an impressive dragon. Was he just holding back when we're fighting him? Suddenly, when Issei was deep in his thought, a green light was showing on his left arm. After 3 minutes his arm was now covered with a boosted gear. Greg, are you there? Answer me. Yes, I'm here, partner. It's the condition of the two heavenly dragons. When they transport the spirit of their host to the sealed realm, the dragon or dragons must not be active for a certain amount of time. Okay, but why did you do it, Dreg? Why did you make me see the frustrated, miserable old god dragon? I'm still here, you know. Oh, sorry. Greg can't help but laugh, and soon the three dragons laughed with him also. The god dragon was just insulted by a mere teenager. After what seems like forever, Dreg finally spoke again. I did it to save you, partner. If I didn't, then you should be reborn again as a new person with a higher rate of you not getting me back. To put it simply, you will live as a new person again, and you will never see Uri as a Keno Kaneko, or everyone. Issei just nodded nervously and looked towards the three dragons chatting about their lives. When Issei was about to command them to be ready for another travel, a huge portal came out of nowhere. Brace yourselves, Midgardsormr said as he took cover. Everyone followed after Midgardsormr. The portal opening was always trouble. When someone opens a portal to another dimension, the portal makes gusts of air. After the wind seems to cool down, everybody looked up to see who it was. It was Volley and another dude. Volley looked like he was searching around, then Issei suddenly stood up. Hey Volley, fancy meeting you here. Fancy meeting me at my father's domain, Issei smirked as he remembered that Volley was one of the descendants of Lucifer. I'm glad to see you're well, Issei. All of the three factions were depressed as hell when you died, Volley said, holding back the laughter. Yeah, that does sound funny. Hey, I heard two other women likes me. Do you have any idea who those two might be, Issei said, wanting to confirm his suspicions. Yeah, I do know who they are, but you'll just have to wait and find out for yourself, Volley said as chuckles were heard from the group. Issei looked at the other guy and asked Volley, did Azazel work out after I died? Because if he did, that would be funny as heaven. Volley laughed and answered Issei quickly. Nope, this is Tannen, remember the one who trained you to perfect your balance breaker, Volley said as Tannen looked around hell. He turned to look at the two-wielder of the heavenly dragons and said. My training was useless because all he needed to do was just push a goddamn nipple. So much for an op I love her, Tannen said, and Issei can't help but have a sweat drop after that one. It's good to see you well, Tannen Drag said as Issei turned back to Volley. Volley was holding the artificial sacred gear of Azazel. He asked, why does he have it? Volley, isn't that Azazel's artificial sacred gear? What are you doing with it? Issei raised his eyebrow waiting for the answer. Bahamut suddenly spoke up answering Issei's question. Old powerful 11 dragons that I made answered my calling, partner. Expect more dragons to come. Don't be surprised if they are here to form alliance with you or to try and kill you, Bahamut said as a blue jewel glowed through Issei's chest. Why would they want to kill me? Issei said as he was getting curious and scared to think that hundreds of dragons were to kill him. It's because you now wield the most powerful existence, the creator of everything. Killing you will grant the killer a great title. Yeah, from now on after you get out of here you should keep under a low profile just to be safe. Okay, I got that, guys, Issei said as he looked towards the group. Volley was staring at Yuria and asked Issei a question. Hey, why does this guy look like me? Yuria just smirked and smiled at the vanishing dragon's host. We were all made by Bahamut-sama, and technically we're all brothers and sisters, Yuria said as he smirked and fist-bumped Volley. Interesting. Simply interesting, Volley thought as he looked towards Issei. So Issei, you possess the almighty Bahamut. Not just that, Volley, but also Drag, which means I'm still your rival, Issei smirked, and he looked up at the sky to see a really huge portal. It was 50 meters long vertically and 30 meters wide. The portal made strong winds. Volley and Issei was now currently dug their dragon claws onto the ground, hoping they won't fly off to nowhere. After what seems like 3 minutes, a giant red dragon appeared, and after him was a western blue dragon, a green short eastern dragon with leaves trailing after him, and a red serpentine-like dragon that looks like Yuria, but different. The 4 dragons headed down towards the land, and they changed their forms to human. The first one who went to Issei was a beautiful blue-haired teen, but it was not Zenobia. My name is Tiamat, your highness. I've answered your calling, Tiamat said as she bowed her head and kneeled down in front of him. Tiamat looks like Alexis Rhodes from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but her hair wasn't dark yellow colored, it's blue. Tiamat looked up and saw Issei with 2 arm gears. One was the boosted gear. And the other was colored dark red. Tiamat looked at the boosted gear, and suddenly, hatred formed around her eyes. Without hesitating, Tiamat quickly pummeled Issei down, wrestling him. Hey, what gives? Issei said as he pushed Tiamat back up. "Bdraig after for what seems like forever you show up to me, just like that, after you left me and didn't prove your promise." "Oh no. Why Drag, do you know this dragon what's she talking about promise Issei asked a dragon who was now getting stressed out. "Bdraig you bastard" Tiamat shouted and charged with her dragon form at Issei once again, and soon enough Issei was thrown far away in the middle of nowhere, Tiamat and the others followed him. Issei rose back up again spitting out some blood. "What is wrong with you? What did even Drag do to you that provoked you this much?" Issei shouted at Tiamat who changed back to her human form. She was quiet for such a long time, then she suddenly spoke up. "Drag promised me we make dragon eggs." Tiamat blushed on her human form, everyone just stared with expression on their faces. "You do realize Drag is your older brother right?" Bahamut said breaking the staring contest between Tiamat and Issei. Tiamat just blushed and hugged Issei. And said. "One each and like me too that's why he made me a promise." Tiamat said looking sad with a pouty face. "Got anything to say to this partner?" Issei asked Drag inside his head. "This is just too awkward." "Kuku, incest is a bad thing Drag." "It's nice to hear from you again," Bahamut Sama Great Red said as he kneeled down towards Issei. "Ah yes indeed Great Red, in fact your dragon size is half of my true form, truly impressive, expected of my eldest dragon, but I know you can't keep up with my power, I can easily destroy you, you know," said the glowing jewel in Issei's chest. "I'm here to serve as well," my lord Slifer said as he changed to a human form. He took the form of Tatsumi and became Georgia Kill. "You finally got bored flying above the eternal bliss huh?" Slifer couldn't help but smirk. "I promise that I will not let you down again," my lord Slifer said as another dragon came behind him. "It's me my lord, I have come to serve you once again," the Jade Dragon said as he bowed down with respect. He looked like Lubbock and became Georgia Kill. "Ah Jade you can be useful, but that depends on my host, whether he will accept you or not." Issei was once under pressure again. His peerage was quickly growing every day. Non-stop. "Partner since you are eager to get back to your own domain, I will teach you the powers of these dragons to save time." Tiamat Dragon King with incredible speed, incredible strength, and was chosen to be the most powerful among Dragon Kings. Slifer fearsome mouth considering it's too, he's more of a fight in front of the lines, rather than a runaway madman, that's why he and Yuru doesn't work out well. Great Red the most powerful among the other 10 dragons I made. He is 50 meters tall and 20 meters wide, he is bound to be noisy, to be exact opposite of Office. Office wants silence, but Great Red causes mayhem and noise. That's why he and Office are full of hatred towards each other. Jade Dragon the legendary elemental dragon, nice support for the dragons since he can manipulate the atmosphere for dragon season, an atmosphere that changes the condition of a dragon, either strong or stronger. He can also use lightning to call airstrike. What's it gonna be partner? I'm going to declare. Slifer 2 pawn for the front lines of war. Tiamat Knight for her fast movements and strong attacks. Jade Bishop for supporting dragons and healing them. Great Red Rook for Great Wall of Defense. Volley Bishop for divine dividing support. Hannon 2 pawns to help Slifer battle. Hafner 2 pawns, because I don't know exactly what you can do, Issei said as he finished the peerage ritual. After they were finished Issei decided to leave the underworld of Underworld. Simply foolish partner, you can die because you aren't full human and just a mere spirit. So what do you suggest Bahamut Sama Slifer asked aware of what Bahamut is saying. I'm saying that for my host to regain flesh once again we need to give our energy for him to be revived with flesh once again Tiamat said cutting off Bahamut. I don't know partner, if they don't want to do it, then leave them be Issei said as he looked at Hell once again, he was slapped and he escaped from his thoughts. Hey what was that for Issei asked rubbing his cheek. You are our king, ask us to leave you proves you are foolish enough not to be a leader, Tiamat said as she glared daggers at Tatsumi. She's right partner, since you are a leader of the newly born dragon peerage you should have authority once for a while. Needless to say this, but dragons like stubborn demanding leaders if they truly respect their own leader. Well are you will to do it, Volley Issei asked as he turned towards Volley's direction. If it's to see the chance you get slapped in the ass by your girlfriends, I'm happy to do so, Volley smiled, showing the most devious and evil smile Issei has seen from his entire life. Okay no objections. Yes sir, all of them shouted. Okay partner no one objects so you should be alright. Okay what now? Okay everybody form a circle Bahamut was obeyed and everyone formed a circle. Partner go into the middle and kneel down on one knee Issei did as he was told. By the power bestowed by me I shall use the powers of the 11 powerful dragons to revive you with another flesh, to keep your appearance, and to make you mature. The 11 dragons chanted words. He is the greatest, he is the chosen one, he will change the world, he will make sure evil is gone. After light was shot down on Issei, blood and flesh started to form around the transparent body, miraculously making him human again. After everything was done, Issei stood up looking at his arms, hands, and legs. Wow, this is cool, old man, thanks, I can finally go back to the surface once again. Bahamut was insulted as he was called old man, but quickly dismissed it as he saw his partner happy and high-fiving every peerage member he has. Hey, Bahamut. Can I change my appearance for a bit? Yeah, but I could only change the color of your eyes and hair, not your appearance, because you have to work for your appearance partner. It shows if you are fit or obese. Well, I would like my hair to be silver with red streaks and one of my eye to be gold and the other crimson red. Bright light appeared from Issei, and the changes have been made. He has one gold eye and the other crimson. His hair was now silver with red streaks on the edge. His dress was now closer to Vali. Wow, our king is sure eye-catching, Tiamat said as she blushed at the appearance. Issei just shrugged it off. Partner, remember, you have to get struck by the 3 faction leaders. You don't have to do it now, but if you wish to be truly awakened, you should do now as you please. I know that, Bahamut, I'm not eager like an old dragon buffoon like you, Issei said as the other dragons laughed. Now that was comedy gold, Vali said, wiping a tear. Very interesting, Issei, you got the creator of all existence to bow down on his knees, simply amazing. Bahamut can't help but cry. I don't have time for this crap, I'm going to bed. Do as you please, Bahamut, the trip will take longer, Issei said at the jewel in his chest. Wait for me everyone, I'm coming back, Issei thought as he looked at the black sky of the underworld. Suddenly a portal appeared and there's a figure with 12 black bird wings. I knew it, you are the one causing trouble in this place, the figure said as he smirked. Let's go surprise them, what do you think? Former Red Dragon Emperor Azazel smirked while chuckling happily. Issei couldn't help but put an evil smirk. Remember to make this a secret, Azazel, Issei said with a cocky face. Remember that you have 10,000 spankings after you get up there. Issei dropped his smirk and the others just laughed. Oh brother. Gu Academy. Time-lapse 3 days. The whole OCR, student council were gathered on the new school building. Azazel, any chance of answering my question? Surziches said, glaring daggers at Azazel. The whole OCR and student council could only question of their presence for the meeting. They should be enjoying the weekends. Ah, of course, Urziches, don't be so eager, you'll have wrinkles, Azazel said, earning a chuckle from the other factions. As Urziches Sama asked Azazel, why did you gather us here? Michael asked with a more patient voice compared to Surziches. There was a problem in the hell of underworld, Azazel said, crossing his arms. What does an angel have to do with the devil and fallen angels? Azazel cut Arena from talking. You see, it was not a something, it was a someone. Azazel smirked as Michael and Surzich leaned from their seats, showing a sign that they are interested. You can come out now. You can come out now, Azazel said as Vali came out with a gold sacred gear in his right hand. Dear Azazel, I don't need this piece of crap anymore, Fafnir is freed, that thing is useless now, Vali said with a smirk. Azazel looked at the others with a smile, the look on their faces was just priceless. Azazel put the scrap in his pocket as Vali continued to speak. Like the angels, devils, fallen angels, the dragon now also have a faction, Vali said, widening his smirk. And we want to have a rating game against the 3 factions. Michael and Surziches widened their eyes as Vali stated his words. And we're requesting that the 3 legendary faction leaders to be in one team and we will fight them, Vali said as he crossed his arms, closed his eyes, and smirked. Michael and Surziches don't know the reason why he was doing this, but Azazel just smirked as he remembered something. Flashback. The train to the human world was long and the other dragons were now sleeping. Azazel was walking around and saw Issei on the couch, deep in his thoughts. Hey Issei, what's the problem? You look like you're troubled, Azazel said as Issei snapped out from his thoughts. Azazel, I can't really explain this to you, Issei said, and as he was about to trail off someone stopped him. Issei, you've been acting different after everyone thought you died. You have been making trouble in the underworld of underworld, and not just that, it looks like the real Issei is dead, Azazel said as he deadpanned the final part. You can't blame me, Azazel, I'm a newborn man, made from the blood and flesh of dragons, the Issei you knew is dead, I am now a born warrior who will seek out power and use it to protect others, Issei said with calm voice, not regretting every word he said. Heh, Issei, I can't help but laugh at how foolish you are, Azazel said as he smirked, while Issei was quite offended. What does that mean, Azazel? Issei said, glaring at him. Azazel can't help but chuckle at the clueless Issei. You think you are perfect but you are not, you act like you are perfect but you are wrong, you speak like you are new man, but you aren't, Azazel said and turned to see a very confused Issei. To put it simply, everything you are saying are the things you actually don't want to be, you're building a wall to block us out, but the wall you made were full of holes. Which means whatever words you said to defend yourself you're still predictable, Azazel said as he continued, you think you can handle everything, but you know to yourself that you can't, Azazel said. Issei calmed down. Wow, you just said those deep words just to make me say something to you, I'm really surprised, Issei said as he grabbed a glass of wine and drank it. Azazel joined him and asked him a question. So, as I asked, what were you thinking deeply to shut yourself from the outside world, Issei, Azazel said as he closed his eyes, letting the wine take over him slowly. I have a new sacred gear, and the creature that is sealed within it was the creator of everything himself, Issei said as he filled another glass with wine. Azazel's eyes shot up as he heard the word sacred gear. He looked over to Issei and grabbed his shoulders. Will there be a chance when I can study that new sacred gear, Azazel said with hunger in his eyes. Don't even think about it, you weakling. Someone said, making Azazel turn to see who said that. He turned back to Issei and saw the jewel in his chest was glowing. Azazel can only say the words, what the fuck are you? The cuckoo, you fallen angels sure are pathetic along with the devils and angels. I am the one and almighty Bahamut, creator of all gods and worlds, Bahamut said, priding the last words. Azazel can't believe these words easily, but he tried to accept the fact. Very interesting, Bahamut-sama, but if I may I ask you, if you really are the entity that created everything, how come you chose Issei as you host, Azazel asked, raising an eyebrow while drinking more wine. After this bastard died, Drake sent him to me and let me judge over him and his past. He sure is interesting. Even if he is fulfilled with power, he still protect the weak. He swore to protect everyone, whether he knows him or her or not. That's why I chose him as my host. Because he is worthy of my power, Bahamut said, calming down as the jewel on Issei's chest calmed down the light. How powerful exactly are you, Bahamut-sama, Azazel asked with a serious expression. The FFT, you know the top most powerful 10, right, Bahamut said, well Azazel just only nodded. Well, I rank number 0, which means I am stronger than that great red or whatever you call him at your place, Bahamut said as Azazel jumped a little from his seat. He stated that he was stronger than the one and only great red, Azazel thought as he looked at Issei's glowing jewel with a serious face. As Bahamut started to speak again, this time Volley joined the conversation because he heard them talking about the top most powerful 10. But the condition of being a sacred gear is that my host has to unlock my power, Bahamut said, making a hint of worry in his voice. How is that a problem, Volley said as he sat down on the opposite direction of the couch. The problem is that since I am powerful than the top most powerful 10, to unlock my power is not just like taking a candy from a baby. It will take 406,000 years for my host to unlock my power, Bahamut said. Well, Azazel had a troubled expression. Did it really have to take that long? Azazel thought and looked back at Issei's chest. There is another way, Bahamut said while Azazel widened his eyes. Valu just smirked since he already knew what this was all about due to that he got up and left to take a nap. What is it, Bahamut-sama? Azazel said as he crossed his arms, preparing for anything on what will happen and what he was about to say. My partner needs to get struck by the faction leader's signature kill move, Bahamut said as Azazel just smirked to see how it was easy to unlock Issei's power. Will that be all, Azazel said as he made a mental note to himself. Bahamut quickly spoke up before the light of the jewel died down. Oh, and by the way, you need to keep this a secret from the other factions, because once they knew, I doubt that trying to struck him with all your power will be the first thing they'll do, Azazel. All of my power needs a jumpstart too, Mau, one god king. One fallen angel leader will be enough to make unlock it, Bahamut said as the light died down. Azazel looked up to see a drunk Issei. He just smirked. Underage drinking. Kids these days, Azazel thought and chuckled before he stood up and walked to the cockpit of the train, again leaving behind the sleeping Issei. Flashback end. That is completely preposterous, said Rias. What a foolish act to stand your ground and challenge the current 4 great leaders of the legendary factions, said Sona with hatred in her eyes. Bali just smirked and said, my king also want the rookie 4 to participate in the raiding game against the dragons. Everybody can't help but stiffen to what just Bali said. He just said my king impossible. The host of the vanishing dragon. Will never be a servant. Who is this king? Is he really that powerful? Riaz thought while he looked up to see Surziches. Surziches just nodded and said, we accept the challenge. If you want, the raiding game will commence after 5 months of preparation. Grafia marked the date. Hi, Surziches sama, Grafia said as she teleported out of the office. Vali just smirked. You're making a big mistake here, Surziches. It won't be my fault if Issei accidentally takes your life away, Vali said as he grinned, turned around, and waved at the faction leaders. Well, I think this is goodbye. I will inform my king immediately. Vali vanished as he said his final words. After that, Azazel finally stopped laughing. Azazel-sama, why are you laughing? Seraphil asked with a small voice and a little fang from the edge of her mouth. I just remembered, tomorrow will be family day here on Kuo Academy. After Azazel said that, Sona quickly widened her eyes as Seraphil slowly turned to her with a yandier face. Sona-tan, how dare you not say that to me, Serafal said as she tilted her head with the creepy face still on. After for a few seconds Sona started running and they could hear her say words as it fainted to the distance. One day Azazel, I'm going to have you pay for this. Serafal just followed the trail of dust slowly with the creepy face still intact. Everyone can't help but laugh on how ridiculous Serafal followed Sona slowly. Serafal really is one of a kind, Michael said as Irina prepared a portal for heaven. You could say that again. Oh, and Ria, see you tomorrow. Father will be here to take videos of your first year of college. Life hahaha Serzicha said as he teleported to hell. Riaz could only look at Akeno, who now has a very sadistic smile on her face. Phew for Riaz, remember the time when Issei made you your first statue? Akeno asked, still clearly laughing between her words. Yeah, Akeno, it's still funny how he got to make a perfect naked mini version of me, Riaz said as they finally walked to the hallway of the school and eventually back to the old school building. What can I say, Issei is one unique fish in the sea, Akeno said as she went to the kitchen to make some tea. If you could only see how many beings grieved over your death, Issei. Ria said as she made a frown face. Unknown place. So you finally informed the Mayman with a hood, asked Vali, who now turned to look at him. Yes, Issei, the event of your true awakening will now be even closer, Vali said as the other dragon smirked. I'm also looking forward for a rematch again, Issei Hyoudou, Vali said, putting on a serious face. Sure, after all of this is over you and I can settle this once and for all, Issei said, giving a weak smile towards Vali. But don't even think of winning, host of Albion, you are infinite years too early to go toe-to-toe with my true power. Bahamut said as Vali clutched back his seat. Tomorrow will be family day in Kuo Academy. They made a new event, battle of the bands, for families to play and bond by playing musical instruments, Tannen said as Issei's face looked like he had a plan. Yes, master, the student council, orc, and the faction leaders will be participating, Slifer said as he gave Issei a new Kuo Academy uniform. We also enrolled all of us there in the same classroom with the first-year college students, Albion said as Issei's eyes widened in fear. That means Riaz, Akeno, others will be there, will be my classmate, Issei said as he tried to control his panicking state. Is there something wrong, my lord? Jade said with a curious voice. Issei just tried to calm down. I was planning for a dramatic reunion where I will look badass and stuff, Issei said as he scratched his grey hair. Phew, how about you just wear it disguise, Tiamat said as she gave me a new outfit. It was a black jacket with the sleeves torn, skinny jeans, chains for the pocket. It suits your grey hair with red streaks too, partner, Drake said, taking a look on Issei. Thanks, Drake, Issei said as he wore the outfit. Issei looked at the mirror mumbling, I look like a gangster. Issei just shrugged it off and walked towards the room where the others was. Issei can't stand of this crappy place they call hideout, they have to move to civilization. Okay, I'm planning to move back to Kuo because of my enrollment to Kuo Academy. You will all have to join me in the school, so when something happens, we can contact each other quickly. That school is full of devils, but they're not hostile. Try to be more calm and never let them notice that you're all dragon. They only know Vali, but not all of you. Understood, Issei Sama, all of them shouted in unison. The two Nekamadas will be a problem though, Bahamut said, while Issei looked at his jewel. We are stronger than all of them, Bahamut, believe that we can surpass their sensing abilities, Issei raised his hand to the air. Having lots of motivation now, are we? Bahamut said with a cocky smile. He already knew how it will all turn out. Yeah, awesome, Issei said as the others chuckled. Bahamut just grunted, then suddenly widened his eyes. And we can finally grope on some op-eye, Bahamut said as he started jumping up and down in the sacred gear. Issei can't help but sigh at the perverted dragon. He also chuckled, since wasn't it supposed to be the other way around? Issei's pav. Now this is life, Issei shouted at the newly bought 8-story mansion. Slifer can't help but chuckle at how Issei immediately drank at the water station that has a sign that says water not cleaned, and by the looks of the sign it was 5 years old. Yuri and Jade took 2 rooms at the last floor. Issei took the master's bedroom on the 4th floor. Slifer and Vali took the rooms on the 2nd floor, while Tiamat was on the far side of the 2nd floor. Tannen preferred outside for his daily training basis, while Midgardsormer took the pool for himself. I'm going to make dinner, Issei Sama, Tiamat said as she turned to head to the kitchen. I'm going to train with Tannen, Issei Sama, want to join me, Yuria said as he walked out of the elevator. Nah, I'm good, thanks for asking, Issei said looking bored. Man, it's really boring without the gang. I wonder what they're up to, Issei said while staring at the window. Kuo Academy. Riaz and Sona's peerage were preparing the gym for the Battle of the Bands event tomorrow. Serafal helped, not hesitating on bit because of her energetic body. Saji and Kiba were preparing the drums, Kaneko brought all the guitars, Asia was positioning the mix stand. Tsubaki was outside preparing the ticket booth with Akeno. 3 months after Issei died, a lot has changed. Tsubaki was now having a major crush on Kiba. Sona gladly accepted Saji more than a friend, at least that's what she calls it. Rias still have nobody, she just thought that boys are always the same again. Zenobia evolved Durandal into Durandal too, it harnessed the power of the Excalibur destruction and the Excalibur nightmare, every sword she tried to spar was just easily cut into two, except for Kiba's. It's funny these last 3 months I never thought that we would get over him, Ria said to Sona as their peerage tried to help Saji from the tangled banners. I thought you would be the one so much devastated about this, Sona said as she turned towards Rias. I'm still curious though, what would I do about those 8 pawn pieces I buried, Rias asked to Sona, who was struggling to answer the question. She quickly calmed down and replied. I think you should at least give those to a new host, it was unnecessary to bury them anyways, well goodbye, I got to inform my family about tomorrow, Sona said as she went to a magic circle and then teleported away from the group. Issei said, feeling hopeless. I will never get over you. Guo Academy. It was now family day. Rias had his father and brother come over, while Sona had her father and sister. They were now at the gym to gather and talk about the school's Battle of the Bands event. It's been a long time since we saw each other again, Lord Citri said as he walked over and placed his hands on Lord Citri's shoulders. I could say the same about you, Gremory, how's it going up with Felina, are you planning to have another child again, Lord Citri said as Gremory laughed heartily. You really know how to make someone laugh, huh, Citri, Gremory said as he looked at the others, then to her daughter. When are we going to prepare the Bob, Rias Surziches said as he looked at Rias calmly. It will start soon enough, Surziches, Sona answered. Surziches just nodded and looked at the leader of the two clans. Do you have the instruments, Father Surziches asked as a little magic portal appeared beside Lord Gremory. Of course I have, I want to relive the metal thrashing days, again Lord Gremory said as he grabbed a crimson double-neck electric guitar. I will be on the drums, Lord Citri said as he grabbed a gold-colored drumsticks. After a short while the program started and the two lords began to metal thrash while every teenager just headbanged. There were lots of moments where Gremory began to headbang along with the audience despite of his age. After that other people began to play with their family. By Satan, I never felt so alive, Lord Citri clearly wanting to play more. Now Citri, clearly you don't want to embrace your 2 daughters here, ha 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 ha, Gremory said and laughed heartily as Seraphil and Sona just pouted. Lord Gremory, what a coincidence of our meeting here, someone said, and everyone looked behind to see it was Vali. Oh, the host of the White Vanishing Dragon, clearly and simply interesting, Lord Citri said as he examined Vali. It must be hard for you to accept that your rival the Securute passed away, Gremory said as Vali just smirked, which turned to a laugh. The haha, we'll see after the rating game, Lord Gremory, Vali said as he looked up on the stage. How about you, Rias, Gremory? Are you still mulling over Issei, Vali asked as he turned to look at Rias. Woo, why would you ask that, Rias said as he pouted. Very cute, very interesting, Vali just thought and looked towards the center of the group. You can come out now, Office, Vali said as everyone looked at the center of the group. Indeed, there was Office currently sitting on a rock. How was she even able to get a rock inside the gym while everyone not notice it? Office, the Ouroboros dragon god, what is she currently doing here, Lord Citri asked and saw the whole group was taken aback as well. I will watch the performance act of Vali, one of my master's bishop, along with Baccarat, Office said as she gestured a very muscular man with a crimson red hair to come closer. Gremory was very surprised and wide-eyed. Long lost brother that I never knew I had, is that you, Gremory asked with a face full of happiness with a expression. The apocalypse dragon just punched his face that sent him flying across the gym and he had a very bored face. Aka Great Red muttered as he looked up to Vali, then to the little devil group. Rias couldn't believe it was the true apocalypse dragon standing in front of her and he just punched her father's face, her father should be honored. Boy, what the heck, Vali is up with these mere devils, they are really getting on my nerves after, Great Red said that. Gremory rose from the rubble, then quickly jumped to hug Great Red with Issei's perverted face. Wow, long lost brother that I never knew I had, you sure are pretty manly, I can't wait to tell you how much you've missed and to tell your nieces Fianni died blah 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 as Gremory kept going on and on and on and on until it drives Great Red finally ran outside the gym at full speed. I didn't left the dimension gap to deserve something like this, Great Red just said as Gremory quickly followed. Wait, long lost brother that I never knew I had come back, I can't wait to also tell you how to make spinach salad stew, Gremory said as he ran after Great Red with an apron that says kiss the cook and a frying pan on his left hand that is up on the air. How was he even able to put that apron on so quickly? Everyone was just sweat dropping as they looked at the swinging doors of the gym while Office just tilted her head. This spinach salad stew seems healthy, I must make one for master, Office said with a hint of determination in her eyes. Suddenly someone came holding Gremory and Great Red's collars, dragging them to the gym. Riaz was already embarrassed about how her father still acts like a kid, well she can't blame him. He thought that Great Red was his long-lost brother that he never knew he had, so he was really full of happiness. Ako saw Maria's muttered and frowned, her face was already red due to the shame. "Boy, what the heck are you doing to my father?" Serziches asked as the guy turned around. He looked like Vali, but he had a crimson red hair. "Serziches, let me introduce you to Yuria, Lord of Searing Flames, one of the forgotten legendary dragons." Serziches had a hard time believing. Never in his life he heard these forgotten legendary dragons. "Interesting, are there more?" Azazel asked as Yuria felt someone's presence. He looked back to see a man who looks like him, he also had a crimson-colored hair, but the only thing that differs him is that the guy had a gold chain with a big pyramid in it. "Slifer," Yuria said, despising the name. Yuria Slifer said and smiled. "So master also sent you, huh?" Slifer asked with a happy face. "Damn you," Yuria spat back as he looked back to the group, they were all wide-eyed, they can hardly believe it, were they twins because they look like twins, and they also look like Vali, but only with red hair. Sona and her peerage were surprised as well. First of all, they don't have any idea about these forgotten legendary dragons, and second, they're seeing 3 Valis here, the other 2 was a red hair. "Could you stop fighting, we will perform soon," Vali said, rubbing his temples. "Stop fighting, you both disgrace my form," Vali said, that made the 2 red hair cross their arms. PH. Later on, Vali prepared 2 songs that will mock all of the Orc and Student Council members. As he prepared the microphone, the whole dragon group prepared themselves as well. Great Red as the drummer. Yuria as the distortion guitarist. Slifer as the bass. And Vali as the lead singer. "Okay, this one is for you all who grieved Issei Hyoudou's death. Haha, so try to bear and enjoy the song," Vali said on the microphone as the guitarists and drummer begin to play. "Die for you by otherwise. Vali. And kill the way I feel. And stop but hurt so real. And kill what I denied. There's nothing left to sacrifice. I stand on solid ground. Look up from falling down. There's nothing left unsaid. I live with no regrets. I feel so alive, I could die. I would break. I would burn. I would suffer. There's nothing I wouldn't do. Slifer. Do for you. Ollie. I would lie. I would steal. But no other. You make me feel so alive. So alive I'd die for you." Yuria starts little solo. "Ollie. There's nothing left to hide. Want you to see inside. For me there is no doubt. My heart is yours, so rip it out. I don't expect you to understand this. I'll take what you give. But I won't take it for granted. I feel so alive I could die. I would break. I would burn. I would suffer. There's nothing I wouldn't do. Slifer. Do for you. Ollie. I would lie. I would steal. But no other. You make me feel so alive. Yuria. So alive I'd die for you. Ollie. Yuria Slifer. Take my heart, just rip it out. Rip it out. Take my heart, just rip it out. Rip it out." Yuria start solo. "Ollie. I would break. I would burn. I would suffer. There's nothing I wouldn't do. Yuria Slifer. Do for you. Ollie. I would lie. I would steal. But no other. You make me feel so alive. Yuria Slifer. So alive. Ollie. I would break. I would burn. I would suffer. There's nothing I wouldn't do. Yuria Slifer. Do for you. Ollie. I would lie. I would steal. But no other. You make me feel so alive. Yuria Slifer. Vali. So alive I'd die for you. Take my heart, just rip it out. Rip it out. Take my heart, just rip it out. Rip it out." Gremory Group. Back to the Gremory Group, everyone was shocked at the sight of the white vanishing dragon's performance, but the girls were unhappy. Clearly because he was mocking Issei's death. But as the first song stops, Vali was cheered by the audience for one more song, due to how epic they sang the first song. They were talking to each other, trying to declare if they would sing one more song for the fans. "Oh right, who wants one more song?" A guy who looked like Vali, but had crimson hair and a large pyramid necklace shouted to the audience. I'm assuming that's the guy named Slifer. "One more, one more, one more," everyone shouted as the man named Slifer looked at Vali and then looked at the audience again. "Alright, get ready teenagers and parents, cause we are about to sing another song for you all," Slifer said as he readied his bass. 3, 2, 1. Hero by Skillet. A little bit of remake. Epic intro plays. Ollie. I'm just a step away. I'm just a breath away. Losing my faith today. Yuria. Falling off the edge today. Ollie. I am just a man. Not superhuman. Slifer. I'm not superhuman. Yuria. Someone save me from the hate. Ollie. It's just Klepeth's war. Just another peerage torn. Yuria. Falling from my fate today. Ollie. Just a step from the edge. Just another day in the world we live. I need a hero. Save me now. I need a hero. Yuria. Save me now. Volley. I need a hero. Slifer. Save my life. Yuria Slifer Volley. A hero who'll save me. Yuria. Just in time. Volley. I've got to fight today. To live another day. Speaking my mind today. Yuria. My voice will be heard today. Volley. I've got to make a stand. But I am just a man. Yuria. I'm not superhuman. Slifer. My voice will be heard today. Volley. It's just a demon war. Just another member gone. Yuria. My voice will be heard today. Volley. It's just another kill. The countdown begins to destroy ourselves. I need a hero. Save me now. I need a hero. Yuria. Save me now. Volley. I need a hero. Save my life. The hero who'll save me. Yuria. Just in time. Volley. I need a hero. Slifer. Save me now. Volley. I need a hero. Slifer. Just in time. Save me just in time. Save me just in time. Yuria Slifer Volley. He's gonna fight for what's right. He's gonna help you survive. Volley. We're in the fight of our lives. Issei's voice. And you're all not ready to die. Yuria Slifer Volley. He's gonna fight for the weak. He's gonna make him believe. They have a hero. Yuria. You have a hero. Volley. Living in here points to heart. Yuria Slifer Volley. He's gonna fight for what's right. The day he's speaking our mind. Volley. And if it kills him tonight. Issei's voice. I will be ready to die. Volley. The hero's not afraid to give his life. The hero's gonna save me just in time. I need a hero. Save me now. I need a hero. Yuria. Save me now. Volley. I need a hero. Save my life. Vali and Slifer. A hero who'll save me. Yuria. Just in time. Slifer. I need a hero. Vali and Yuria. He's gonna fight for what's right. He's gonna help us survive. Slifer. I need a hero. Vali and Yuria. He's gonna fight for the weak. He's gonna make him believe. Slifer. I need a hero. I need a hero. Yuria Slifer Volley. A hero's gonna save me just in time. Audience POV. Everyone was very excited and blood was just rushing inside of them. They were really enjoying and some of the girls were just dying for Volley and his brothers. After that the four dragons got off stage and walked towards the devils and faction leaders. Very impressive Volley Lucifer, expected on the eternal rival of the Security Lord Citri, said as he smiled weakly. On that last song it sounded like you were trying to tell us something, perhaps telling us that Issei as Al-Azazel was cut off when Great Red punched him so hard that he flew away from them unconscious. Aka Great Red said while massaging his right fist. Everyone was just very confused, luckily they didn't understand what Azazel tried to say. Everyone just sweat dropped at Azazel who was clearly out cold, but he was still muttering things even if he's in a comatose. Oppai so many Oppai muttered the old perverted fallen angel, everyone just sweat dropped on what Azazel said, and later all of them laughed. Not noticing another presence behind the stage curtains in the dark. Issei who was wearing Scorpion's Mortal Kombat outfit without the hood, he was leaning against the wall and his right foot was resting on the wall. So Riaz and the others moved on. How well, that's good, just remember to fight well in our rating game Riaz. He said after preparing a dark-themed magic circle. Suddenly Saji walked by and noticed a man in the curtains back at the stage. He couldn't make out the outfit, but that hair shape. It can't be, but how Saji screamed at his mind and ran towards behind the stage, but when he reached to the curtains no doubt. The man was gone. Issei's POV. Almost got caught. Issei said as he was running towards his mansion, after he did he was greeted by Tiamat on a maid's outfit. Welcome back, Issei Sama Tiamat said as I relaxed my foot on the table. I was then greeted by Volley and the other who performed. Boy, nice performance, good thing you didn't disobey my order, Issei said with a big wide smile on his face. Remember, my motivation to do that was because I wanted to get you slapped by your girlfriends. Alright, Volley said as he smiled weakly. Well, we're tired anyways, Issei Sama, we'll go to rest for now, Slifer said as Yuria looked back at me. The same goes for me, Issei Sama, thank you for the wonderful night of experience, Yuria said with a smile. No, I should be thanking you for taking my orders, seriously, Issei said as he rested his head on his hands and slacked off. That's no problem for a knight of Bahamut Sama, well, best be off my way then, Yuria said and walked towards the elevator. I just sighed and looked out the big window again, it really was a beautiful sight. I found a comfortable spot and I took a quick nap. After I woke up I looked at the time, it was midnight. Then I went to Ria's house, don't ask me, even I want to know the reason why. Well, maybe it's because I wanted to see her again. The Cult Research Club. I took a quick magic portal and teleported to the Occult Research Club's location. When I looked around I see that everything is so messy. Maybe after the battle of the band Surziches and her father celebrated here Issei though, and looked around more. He saw Kaneko sleeping at the couch, while Kiba and Akeno is nowhere to be seen. Asia was on the table snoring cutely while holding a spilled soft drink on her hand. Zenobia was wasted sleeping on the floor, and I could tell she was really tired and filled with soft drinks. Riaz was on her desk, and she really fell asleep, and I'm guessing Gasper didn't party with them. I tried to clean the place up carefully so I don't wake them up. I placed the soft drink bottles on the freezer, put the spilled books in the library, and vacuumed the place because I have no time to use a broom and clean this place up. After I'm done I wiped my sweat away and walked towards Riaz. I knelt on her side, and I touched her face. She woke up but her eyes are still half closed. She looked at me and said, "Issei, my Issei, is this a dream?" Riaz said weakly and almost falling back asleep. Riaz, yes it is. I want to let you know that I'm happy that you guys aren't moping around for me anymore. I love you Riaz. I wish I could prove it one more time, but now I seriously can't, I said lying on the last part. Issei, my Issei, Riaz said as she tried to hug Issei tighter. She was weak at the moment and then suddenly she almost fell back asleep, but her eyes are closed for the moment. Relax my Riaz, I love you, don't worry, I will never forget about you, Issei said as he kissed Riaz passionately on her lips. After Issei kissed her, she quickly shot open her eyes. But no one was there anymore. Behind the Occult Research Club building. You kind of did the right thing, partner. How could you say that? Well, at least she will know that you will always love her. That's gotta be a major confidence boost, am I right? Yeah, I think so, Baphomet-sama, but I still remember the things those two did, like the one where he pushed her nipples. It was clearly embarrassing for the title of Sekiryuite. Ahahahaha, that's why I chose this human, he is beyond my expectations, Baphomet said as he laughed heartily at Drake's pain. Come on, let's go home, I hear Office has a surprise for you. Well, let's go, hahaha, Issei said, clearly proud for his servant. As he went home he came to see Office wearing nothing but an apron, and she also has a chef's hat placed incorrectly on her head. I made you food, Issei-sama, I hope you would like it, Office said expressionless and on a monotone voice, and then she gave me a bowl of something green, and it's as soup is boiling, and a smoke that has a skeleton head shape appeared on top of the dish. He was really disgusted, but he didn't want Office to feel bad so he did eat it. After biting it his head turned blue, and as if on K an eyeball appeared on top of the soup. I call it spinach salad stew kebab, Office said, and Issei's eyes widened. The next thing they know is that there was an ambulance, and Issei was holding on to his dear stomach. I want to know what happened, a nurse asked Office, and Great Red spoke up. The poor bastard ate trash, quickly mistaking it food, nothing else, Greer Red said as he sighed, hiding the reason of what really happened. Okay, thanks for the information, we just need to pump his stomach, he will come out in about 5 hours or less. Do what you can, Dr. Volley said as he sighed and looked down. TSK, poor bastard, Albion said as he sighed too. Meanwhile, Office was just denying if she knew what happened towards Issei. Gremory Castle. Lord Gremory quickly shot up on his bed, his eyes widened. Valina, who was beside him, looked at him and tried to calm him down. Honey, what's wrong, Valina said so sweetly. I felt a disturbance. Of what, honey? Valina asked, tried to cool him down. Spinach salad stew, a very horrible version of it was made, and someone is on a very life-threatening state because of it, Gremory said while panting. Valina just sighed. Poor man. The Cult Research Club. 8 a.m. The sun was shining out upon the group who got wasted yesterday. Asia, who now woke up weakly and rubbed her eyes to notice that the whole orc building looks good as new. She couldn't believe someone from the group cleaned this place up overnight and can't help but think that Akeno-san did it, so she reminded herself to thank her later. She also noticed that Riaz was on the window looking at the skies. She quickly got up to join Riaz. What are you looking at, you? Asia said weakly as Riaz just kept staring at the clear skies. Asia, would you believe me to what I about to tell you? Riaz asked before she covered her eyes with her hair. Of course, but you, Asia said with a heartwarming smile. Riaz just couldn't help but smile at the little one, but still she covered her eyes. It's about my dreams last night, it's about Issei, Riaz said with a single tear flowing down from her face. But you, we understand Issei-san was precious to us, that's why you dreamt about him, we love him too, but you, so the best thing to do is to try and move on again, Asia said, a smile that shows sadness. Thanks, Asia, I forgot to tell you, it felt too real, it felt like he was there standing in front of me, Riaz said as she recalled the supposed dream last night. Asia couldn't answer this one, the signs of dreams she know, but the feeling the dream was real was just too tricky. Riaz just chuckled and suddenly remembered that it was a school day, so she turned to Asia and told her to prepare for her school day, and she went back inside the building. She found Akeno beside the desk with an expressionless face while she was holding the contracts for the humans. She told Akeno about her dream and all things came to an understanding. The Kendo just theoried that maybe she was just having an hallucination, hence sleep paralysis. After that matter they went to the college building to prepare for their first subject with their professor. Time-lapse 8 hours. After the professor dismissed the college students from their biology class, Sona Citri came to the old building to greet Riaz and invited her to a match on chess. Mid-game they were suddenly stopped to see a magic circle that belonged to the Grimory family. After seconds Surziches and Grafia immediately stepped out of the magic circle. Riaz, we came to tell you concerning about the raiding game against the newly made dragon faction, Grafia said as Surziches looked at Sona. Call Michael and Azazel. We'll have to make a meeting about this, Surziches said, clearly nervous about this faction. What made it even scarier was that Great Red in office was part of it too. Understood, Surziches. Sona said as a magic circle formed beneath her and she teleported away. Riaz, be prepared and get trained, even that you are the Crimson Destruction Princess, we still have to get stronger. Remember, if Office was just a pawn to their leader, then imagine how strong their leader will be, Surziches said, trying to make himself clear. Understood, Ani Sama, Riaz said as Surziches just nodded and walked back to the magic circle, then he teleported away. Riaz couldn't help but think whoever might their leader be, must be laughing maniacally, enjoying his time with his fellow toys. Issei's POV. Third person. Issei was currently lying down on a hospital bed. He was holding his stomach dearly because he just got his stomach pumped and he was confined for recovery. Oh, Issei weakly said, mulling over how did all of this happen. Suddenly Vali came in holding a soup that smelled very delightful, and Issei just couldn't help but look at the soup Vali was holding. Vali sat down at the chair next to Issei and fed him the soup. At first it was delicious, but then everything was torn apart when suddenly a dead rat floated on top of the soup. Vali widened his eyes and he was now looking at the poisonous food while shaking madly. Issei just looked at Vali and asked while trembling. Who made this soup? Vali replied, still looking at the soup. The office. After a few seconds Issei passed out. While Vali was panicking his mind out. Sona POV. Third person. Sona is now currently making a magic circle contact for the leader of the Grigori, but in the end of the line, she could only hear the loud noise of moaning and ecstasy. Sona quickly closed the magic circle with a very furious blush on her face, and every part of it seems to have 50 shades of red. She could only think of doing it with Issei. Whenever Sona was alone without Saji, she would often think about Issei and her having a family. But sometimes her daydreams are burned away and replaced with a nostalgic scene of Hyoudu's funeral. She shakes the memory off and tried to call Michael, which gladly responded. Oh, greetings Sona of the Citri clan, what shall be my service to you? Michael asked, obviously smiling calmly at the end of the line as always. Surziches Sama has gave me an order for all of us to train for the raiding game in due time, Sona responded, making herself clear. If that is what I will be needed for, then I will be on my way after I do these paperworks, good day, and after that the line was finally cut off. After the call to the angels, Sona tried to leave a voicemail for Azazel, so she didn't have to go and hear the noises. Issei's POV. The doctors were beside Issei Hyoudou while looking at the young teen mercifully. Dear God, what must this child have eaten for this shall happen to him, the doctors asked concernedly, as the door was opened to see a little girl in a gothic Lolita fashion that we all know and love. Office made her way through the doctors and to Issei. She grabbed his cheek and planted a kiss that shocked most of the doctors in the room. I'm glad that you liked my food, Issei Sama Office said with a little smile on her face. Now you're resting peacefully, because you're all full from the food that I made, Office said as she got up to the bed and hugged Issei, who was resting peacefully with some dextras on. The doctor made their way out due to the creepiness and to find themselves Issei's peerage in front of them. We would like to see Issei Sama if you please, Vali said calmly at the lead doctor, who quickly nodded. Sure, you can go ahead, the doctor said before they scrambled on the hallways of the hospital. Vali sighed before he entered the room, and as soon as he entered a room, he was greeted by Office on bed with Issei and currently hugging him. Vali remembers when he fed Issei, everything was about to go so well, but it just had to be ruined by a rat. He shook of the memory as he looked at the poor ladder. Iria, Slifer, Midgardsurmer, Tiamat, Jade, Great Red all had troublesome faces as well. Issei really does have a hard path to go against. All they could do was to hope it will all be over. I remember when I said my host is lucky, I take it all back. Bahamut clearly said it, Issei's thought while he has a comatose. Issei Sama, Tiamat said with a pout on her face with teary eyes as she pushed Issei's face onto her breasts. I also take back what I said moments ago, this brat is super lucky, Bahamut said as he too can feel the soft voluptuous opai. Issei is currently looking at a dark void and suddenly he saw light and felt something against his face. It has a familiar feeling, a glorious feeling, the feeling out of this world. Issei suddenly shouted as he was greeted by two pair of breasts. Issei was so happy deep inside, he loves these feeling, in this state he was so vulnerable, so helpless. Fufufu does Issei-sama like my breasts, he can play it all day long if he wants to. Fufufu Issei-sama, no hentai. Tiamat giggled as she embraced Issei face onto her chest. How does he get the women? Partner Albion said to Volley, which Volley replied calmly without hesitation. If it's Issei we're talking about, it's no surprise anymore if he gets the whole world in his harem. Volley sighed at the past womanizer perverted member. Office looked at the two beside the bed and suddenly she thought about the mistakes she have been doing and suddenly she knew what she has to do. Office unexpectedly changed her form into a very sexy woman with a buxom figure and an hergless body. She has the perfect breast and not to mention the perfect ass. Every men dragon in the room quickly had a nosebleed as to seeing the very tempting body who men crave for in their lives. Issei-sama, what do you think? Office said as she spoke with a very sexy mature tone and as she shook her breast and ass. Issei had no reply, why? Because he already fainted from a lot of blood loss. Tiamat quickly grabbed Issei's unconscious face and jammed it between her breast and exclaimed. Issei-sama is mine, don't you dare do this. Tiamat spoke at her declaration that left the other men dragon with an expressionless face. Just because you have a very powerful chess piece than mine doesn't mean that you can stand me, the infinite dragon god alone. Office said with hatred on the end of her sentence. Tiamat had no more choice but to grab Issei's face onto her chest and said these words with no expression. Mine. And soon Office did the same, also with no expression. Mine. Why do I get the feeling of deja vu? Volley said as he recovered the moments Issei have with Rias and Akeno, but luckily Office and Tiamat didn't dare to destroy and turn the whole hospital upside down. All of the men in the dragon faction members just sweat dropped at the scene of the three dragons. This night isn't going to end well. Surzich's Pav. After I made the contact with the heir of Citri, I quickly rushed onto my father's humble abode to find him in a panic state. It was ridiculous how he began to be like this. Mother stated he became like thins last night. Seriously, as a Mayu I should find something even more ridiculous, but no, nothing came into my mind. This is the worst event I've ever seen in my whole life, other than Azazel trying to molest Graphia. After the visit I went to my temple where I can train, test, and judge my own powers. If there's gonna be a rating game between the whole three mythical factions, then I better get training, especially when I found out Great Red was participating. This is no laughing matter. After training with the powers of destruction I found the others were watching, including Michael and Azazel. Well, after the exhibition you displayed I have no doubt that we will win the game, Surzich's Michael said as he placed his hands onto his shoulder. Surzich's placed his hands on top of Michael's and Michael blushed looking away. Graphia saw this and she widened her eyes as she realized. Michael calmly removed his hand, still blushing and looking away. After a few seconds he looked at the devils and a fallen angel and he exclaimed. Since Urzich-sama showed his power it's only fair for us to do also, I will be going next. Michael said as everyone nodded and sat down, Michael walking towards the center of the wide temple to demonstrate his abilities. Light manipulation, Michael calmly said as his wings spread out and light spheres appeared, similar to Surzich's signature move, but only made of light. After seconds of waiting the light sphere exploded and showing the obstacles destroyed, only left to ashes. Michael walked back to the group and he received praises and blushed when he heard Surzich's. He sat down with the others to watch Azazel demonstrate his powers. Azazel kneeled down in front on the center and his wings spread out and he then called out. Forth blazer shining aura darkness blade. The kitchen knife was suddenly formed from his hands and then he looked at the punching bags and then leapt. Azazel was known for great speed and as a result after what seems like 1 second the punching bags were all cut down with a knife. Azazel came back to the group and he received little praises and complained why did he receive only small praises. Because you are more perverted than Issei, Sirafal said deadpanning every word. Azazel tried not to fight back so they can just get this over with so he can finally have some alone time. The rookies were up and it was Ria's first turn. Ria's performed well with the power of destruction, but still incomparable to Surzich's. Sona showed her high intelligence and reflexes while using water manipulation. Sikvara manages to be one of the tacticians throughout the whole game, while Sarerg only keeps bashing everything. But the power they showed Surzich's could only have little doubt. With their power we could easily defeat these dragons. He said, not knowing the dangers ahead. Red Dragon God Emperor trailer. Hello everyone, my name is Hyoudou Issei, a devil. JP the Vile, Infinite Striker's presence. I was a former servant of Ria's Gremory and also the former Sekiryute. Now. You may be wondering why am I not Ria's servant anymore or why am I not currently the Sekiryute. The reason is simple. I died. In cooperation with fanfiction, Wattpad community, Northbound Storytellers. The first time I died was back then when I was in high school. I was killed by my first girlfriend Yuma-chan. Presenting Issei Hyoudou. Riaz, Akeno, Asia, Kaneko, Zenobia, Irina, Gaspar, Ravel, Roswis, Azazel Sensei, Kiba, Saji, Drag and many others. I am sorry that I couldn't keep my promise. Volley Lucifer. How unexpected, the former Sekiryu standing right in front of me, the first one that I have seen in so many ages. Now. Why don't you turn around so that I can have a look at your face? Riaz Gremory. Issei could only gasp as he turned around. After doing so, a loud evil laugh came upon him as fire starts to cover his vision. Sona Citri. I never thought I would find you here, Volley said as he readied his white vanishing gear. Prepare yourself, Volley said grimly as he charged head-on at the battlefield. Akeno Himejima. You. I killed you thousands of years ago. Why come back now? The red dragon came into view as it clashed to a yellow one with an unidentifiable speed, with a big explosion that soon followed after. Azazel. I never wanted to do it this way. Do not misunderstand. Everything I did. Everything I worked for. It was all for them. The blinding light submerged as Issei lifted the infinity blade, blinding everyone with its glory. Surzich's Gremory. I don't need to tell you twice. Retreat now. Or you may never hear the end of it. The jewel sparkled blindingly at Issei's chest. Michael. What is your conclusion for this matter? It's definitely troublesome. They are threatening our so-called peace. We cannot allow that. Michael came into view with 3 light swords hovering above him. Aimed at the enemy. Zenobia Corda. Come back. Please. I need you to come back. Irina Shidu. Do you think everything will be okay after everything you've done? You must have a death wish or something. I'm only lucky to be alive as you bend your back and knees all over. Kaneko Taojo. I told you to stop. See what happened. Can you see the outcome of your foolishness? Did you even think about the consequences of your actions? A man said as a blade plunged onto his enemy's chest. Beige Argento. You were never my grandfather, Volley said as his stored-up demonic rage burst into full power. Hyoudou. Now that we're free. Can you stop murking around and start celebrating life? I'd want to die if I was in your position, Saji said half-jokingly while chuckling. Asper Vladi. Can you stop playing games for a moment and look at our situation? We almost died just now. Saji Genshuru. It doesn't matter what you did or what you've done. If you love someone, you're willing to walk back and forth in hell barefooted just to get what he or she wanted, the dragon god said as Issei looked at the night sky full of stars. Ravel Phoenix. You're only here because you think what you've done is right. But the truth is. It was never right at all. The swordsman leapt at Issei as Issei parried the sword away. Office. Thank you for keeping your promise. I love you, master. Great Red. I swear to God, take your mask off, I know who you are. In. Issei Hyoudou. Red Dragon God Emperor. Alright, first you flick the switch and then the switch, Issei said as Office looked at the bomb with a glint of determination in her eyes. That activates, then you push this button which will give you 5 minutes to get out of there. Issei pointed at the red button on the left side of the bomb, making sure Office doesn't miss a single detail. Now whatever you do, don't push this button cause that will set off the bomb immediately and we'll all be dead, Issei said, pointing at the red button on the right side of the bomb. Now repeat back what I just said, Issei said as he kneeled and put his hands in his pocket. Office said as she looked at the bomb. Issei replied, confirming her statement. Office said as she indicated the other flick switch. That's right, Issei said as he hand gestured Office, signaling her to say the last step. Office exclaimed as she pointed at the red button on the right side of the bomb. No, that's the button that will kill everyone, try again, Issei shouted at frustration. Office said, looking at Issei. Issei replied. Office said, looking at the bomb. Issei hummed as a way of saying yes. Office said, pointing at the right red button once again. No. That's exactly what you just said, how is that even possible? Which button is the button you're supposed to push? Point to it, Issei said, to which Office pointed. The red button at the right side of the bomb once again. No, Issei shouted at frustration. Calm down, you're making her nervous, Volley said above the hole in the cave towards Issei. Does anybody have any tape out there? I want to put some tape over the death button. Issei said, begging for Volley to ask everyone if they had a tape. Nobody has any tape. Volley returns, confirming Issei that nobody has any tape. Not a single person has tape, shouted Issei towards Volley in frustration. You have an atomic bomb in your bag. If anyone is gonna have tape, it's you, Slifer shouted as he went back to blasting the enemies in the battlefield. While everyone was ranting about tape, Office quickly snuck inside the small cave, determined to finish without the knowledge of how she will activate the explosive device. Office shouted as a way to boost her self-esteem. We're all dead, deadpanned Issei as she looked at Office's figure fading in the shadows of the smaller cave. End of the part 2 here. So how was the story? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this story with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.